Hi guys, it's Ammonia Void here again with a new episode. As you can see, we are now in a different setting than we usually were, and that is because I have moved to Paris from Amsterdam, and because of that, I was always thinking that Ammonia Void is gonna be related to my current thoughts and feelings. So that's why this episode is gonna be about on starting from scratch. I think this topic is very important for not only artists, because I think starting from scratch is of course very much related to artistic process, but also how we live as humans. So I'm gonna try to like dive into this a little bit because it's a very close topic of mine now. So the idea of starting from scratch, I think, is very scary because it involves a lot of change and a lot of discomfort. And I have this theory that every 5 years, one should do a big change in their life. For me, those kind of changes are very much related to changing locations where I live. And that, of course, comes with a lot of difficulties because I learned how to not attach myself to places, but of course I attach myself to people that I get to know in those places. So for me, like leaving the Netherlands after 10 years was a very difficult thing to do because I created some kind of a ground there, also very much a comfort zone because I knew exactly where everything was, how I should be working, and what my routine was. But this was exactly what I needed to actually change and shift. And and it was more difficult than I thought because for me now, even when I moved to Paris, I actually still didn't realize that it's actually happening. That I'm staying here. I feel like okay, I'm 1 foot here, 1 foot there. But I always like to look at this graph of comfort zone um, because these stages that are represented there, I'm gonna add it to the video so you can see, are very much true because you have this comfort zone where everything is fine and it there's not much change. It's just everything's quite static, but it's comfortable. And in order to step out of the comfort zone, you have to enter this fear zone, which is absolutely terrible and terrifying because you realize all the insecurities that involve a change, all the fears of what if everything's gonna fail, all the instability that's gonna kick in. All this is involved in the fear zone, and just the idea of it often stops us from making eventually a change. But if we actually make the step and we go through this fear zone, we can trespass it and enter this growth zone. Let's call it like that. Um, because every time we do this step, also our comfort zone gets stretched. Not in the sense that our boundaries are crossed, but it's more that we challenge ourselves and we challenge our fears. And every time we do that, we can go further and further. So that's why I believe that every 5 years it's necessary to destroy these pillars of what is familiar to us and do a change, a radical change. And you know, it doesn't have to be that you move to a different place necessarily. It can just be a change of job or change of a relationship. It's not that like you have 5 years to be like, okay, now we have to break up or something. No, it's just like if you sit down with yourself after every 5 years, you're like, okay, so where do I need to grow? Where do I need to change? Then you can see for yourself what is it that you're craving or that you're fearing and try to dive into that. Creatively, it's also super interesting because for me, like actually going into unknown places or diving into unfamiliar environments is something that I love because familiarity often really kills my inspiration. So because I know everything, nothing really excites me or Um, I don't feel creative in places that I know very well. Um, so that's why a lot of traveling involves my work or my creation. And now I find it interesting that Paris for me was always a place where I would escape to from Amsterdam as like a weekend trip to get my mind triggered, or that I can get inspired, photograph, meet new people. So now the shift becomes that Amsterdam stops being my base, and I turn Paris into my base. So how does it change the dynamics? So I question, will Paris become my new comfort zone, or not, or will I still be in the process of exploring new places here? Of course, this will take some time, and it's not gonna happen straight away. Um, but creatively, I find it very interesting to just scrape things, and if something is just not working, either change completely the route, or change completely the environment, or the way we thought things will work. It usually never works out like that. So yeah, sometimes you just need to erase what you thought will work and start completely from the beginning, from what you don't know, and what you fear, what you want to explore. And once you just break all these pillars of stability, you will get to experience so much new feelings, so much new things, that I also think that it's a cycle that ends and something new begins, something dies and something is born. This is kind of how the life goes. And for this shift, I also believe that the universe will reward you for doing, or putting yourself through this. And and it always works. That's why I continue doing it. And even though I have no idea what I'm actually doing at this moment, I still believe that I'm supposed to be here in this place, because I often dreamed about being here. And every single time I arrived to Paris, I felt like, wow, this is really a place for me. And I was reading this one thing that said that if you feel really good in a place, it means that the story was written for you there. So go and explore it. So that's literally what I did. I just packed my bags. Of course, it took some preparation, and I came here. I quit my job. I had to say goodbye to my friends, to my brother, um, to a lot of things. So it's also a difficult or emotional process of letting go, and you don't know for what exactly yet, um, because you have no idea what's gonna happen. And that's a risk, of course, and those risks always are a double-edged sword. But if we don't take the right risks in our life, then I don't think we are actually living how we're supposed to be, because that's the exciting part that we have to take, and get inspired, live creatively. And you know even though you maybe feel like you're too scared to do the change, once you do it, then you just sit like me in this apartment, or I'm now having a fig jar, holding my holding my phone. uh, it's like, it's fine, like at the beginning you eat bread with cheese, or you just roam around the streets having no clue what people are saying. But eventually you will figure out your own way. I hope that I still don't know if I will, but I am trying to encourage you to do something similar with what I am doing, because it can be quite refreshing or terrible, but you can always return. Just think about the fact that if you were somewhere, you can, I think, always go back to that place, because you know it. So it's worth a shot dive into this unknown pool of unknown. And yeah, just try it, and don't be afraid. And yeah, I'm curious if you guys are going through something similar. I feel like in 2025, people are talking a lot about ruptures, about certain collapses, a lot of change, a lot of unexpected news. I remember like when I was having my goodbye party and in Amsterdam, I felt a lot of people are going through something, a lot of shifts or endings of certain cycles, like really major life changes. And it's only like the beginning of April, and so much has happened in those few months. I personally feel like I didn't stop. It's like I'm blinking and I'm somewhere else. Um, I was listening to this astrologist who was saying that 2025 feels that you are being thrown into a washing machine on the most intensive drying mode ever, spinning 1 million, and then it throws you out and you're laying on the ground like, what the hell just happened? And honestly, astrologically, there was a lot of strange stuff happening, which could explain all this weirdness. Um, but of course, you don't have to you don't have to refer to astrology, but just see for yourself if a lot of shifts or breakthroughs were happening for you. I think we're all re-evaluating what suits us and what doesn't suit us anymore. So it's also a big process of evaluating our boundaries and crossing them or making those boundaries stronger. So it is an interesting start of 2025, and even though this period is very much like a, like a roller coaster, I think it's gonna bring something positive if we just go with the flow and accept the direction where we're going. I think we can arrive at a very interesting destination. Anyway, this was just like a brainstorm. I don't know, free stream of consciousness. I didn't really have any notes on this episode. It was just me sharing my thoughts with you on change, on starting from zero, starting from zero. Anyways, I'm gonna keep it short, and next time I'm gonna prepare a more thorough episode for you. And I hope to see you soon. Ciao, ciao.